The mass line is the basic method of communist organizing. It has been used consciously or unconsciously by all successful communist movements. But Maoism represents the first codification of the mass line. Mao Zedong was able to draw out the methods of the mass line principle as a universal organizing method for all comrades to learn and follow. The Filipino comrades describe the mass line as, "The fundamental teaching of the mass line is for us, revolutionaries, to have complete trust and reliance on the masses. It emphasizes that the revolution must depend on the masses of the people and on the mobilization of the majority. It opposes pinning one's hope on a handful of leaders, geniuses, heroes, or saviors. It upholds the view that the masses, and only the masses, are the makers of history." Now, I wanted to make this video about the mass line to show that communists are actually anti-authoritarian. We actually live currently in capitalist societies that are the dictatorship of the bourgeoisie. This is complete authoritarianism. So I want to break the myth of how communists are actually trying to fight against being authoritarian. Now, there is a gap to bridge between revolutionaries and the masses. Or more simply put, we are revolutionaries, the masses are not. And every organizer should be conscious of this difference. The mass line bridges this gap. The mass line consists of two basic principles. One, from the masses to the masses. And two, unite the advanced, bring up the intermediate, and win over the backwards. From the masses to the masses. How can revolutionary theory be implemented in society? How do revolutionary parties put theory into practice? These questions are answered through the principle of from the masses to the masses. The Revolutionary Party has the theory and understanding. The masses are the motive force in changing society. The mass line bridges this gap. As revolutionary communists, particularly Marxist-Leninist Maoists, we have a certain deep understanding of how the world operates and ideas on how it should operate. The masses, meaning the overwhelming majority of the public, generally do not share these ideas. They have a myriad of weird, wonderful, and contradictory ideas, some of which are good and useful, and some of which are not. However, this isn't to say that the masses do not know what they want. Go out to the masses, conduct surveys, ask questions, do a social investigation. You will come to find that the masses have a lot of ideas. How do we bridge the gap between our revolutionary theory and the masses' eclectic and sometimes incorrect understanding of the world? Mao stated it very clearly, quote, "Take the ideas of the masses, which are scattered and unsystematic ideas, and concentrate them. Through study, turn them into concentrated and systematic ideas. Then, go to the masses and propagate or educate and explain these ideas until the masses embrace them as their own. Hold fast to them and translate them into action. And test the correctness of these ideas into such action. Then, once again, concentrate ideas from the masses and once again go to the masses so that the ideas are preserved in and carried through. And so on over and over again in an endless spiral, with the ideas becoming more correct, more vital, and richer each time. Such is the Marxist theory of knowledge. From the masses to the masses simply means to absorb the ideas from the masses and then bring them back to the masses in the form of a revolutionary theory. Unite the advanced, bring up the intermediate, and win over the backwards. Broadly speaking, we can say that the ideas of the masses fall into three categories. One, the advanced, those closest to MLM, or those with generally revolutionary, progressive, and democratic ideas who are also willing to be active around them. Two, the intermediate, or those who have some advanced ideas and some backwards ideas. And three, the backwards, those that generally have reactionary, regressive, or undemocratic ideas. When organizing the masses, the mass line approach is to unite the advanced, bring up the intermediate, and to win over the backwards where possible. Or to isolate the backwards where winning the backwards over is just not possible. When engaging in any sort of mass line practice, one must be flexible. This is to say that while it is helpful in any given situation to categorize the ideas of the masses according to the categories of advanced, intermediate, and backwards, these categories are in reality fluid. As a struggle progresses, the ideas that constitute any of these categories can change. What constitutes the advanced today may constitute the backwards tomorrow. Likewise, people are processes, and over time, any person can improve or worsen their own ideas. Any organizer should be able to flexibly adapt their own practice to changing circumstances. The mass line is not dogma. It is intended to help and not hinder mass work. It is only through a creative application of the mass line that mass work can move forward. The mass line, when put into practice, is a continuous process. To get a little less abstract, we can generally identify a series of steps that encapsulate any mass line practice. 1. First, any organizer has to begin with social investigation, figuring out what the issues or grievances of the masses are at all levels, economic, social, political, etc., and then figuring out how the masses can be broken down into various sections. This can take the form of surveys, reactions to lived experiences, and so on and so forth. Coming out of this practice, a point of political intervention should be identifiable, with a basic plan of action following soon after. 2. Once these questions have been answered, not in full because one is only able to truly know the world through struggling to change it, one must gather all of those forces which are capable and willing to struggle and fight for the campaign that has been initiated. This can take the form of meetings or a campaign call out or etc. This is the means by which the advanced are united. 3. Following the gathering of forces, it's incumbent on organizers to put people into action, to intervene in the world in a political way. Through the process of going to people and engaging in politics with them, one can increase their political level. This is the process of, quote, bringing up the intermediate. In turn, this also serves as further social investigation for the organizers, where we are able to learn from the masses. 4. After initiating any sort of political action, there will inevitably be some sort of reaction to the work that one is engaging in. An organizer should use this as an opportunity to see what results have been obtained through the political action and reevaluate the initial plan. Maybe there is a victory, maybe there isn't. But either way, there needs to be some form of accounting for and systematizing the effort that one is engaged in. Every struggle that isn't the final struggle against capitalism will inevitably die down at some point. It's the job of organizers to consolidate the gains made during the campaign, either in the form of ensuring the reform is successfully implemented or, more importantly, organizing new people that have been brought into political life through the work that has been initiated. At the end of the day, winning or losing the specific reform is not what's important. Advancing the class struggle by increasing the level of struggle among the masses and increasing the skills and capacities of revolutionary organizers is decisive. Consolidation should serve this end. In order for consolidation to happen, formal organizations are necessary. There needs to be something for the people to be consolidated into. 6. Once new forces are consolidated, a new round of investigation should begin, and the cycle begins anew. Mass line is not simply a set of static principles, but when applied, it is radically democratic and a vibrant way of organizing. In order to understand mass line better, we should compare it to other incorrect ways of organizing, namely commandism and tailism. Communist organizing is all about lifting the consciousness of the masses to understand the necessity of revolutionary and to wage it. Communist organizing is about lifting the consciousness of the masses to understand the necessity of revolution and to wage it successfully. If a revolutionary party goes too far ahead or trails too far back, it will only and always lead to failure. The PCR-RCP of Canada describes this succinctly. Commandism is a practice of standing ahead of the masses politically and commanding them to catch up. To act in a commandist manner is to forget about the first principle, from the masses to the masses, which leads us to treat the masses as if they have nothing to teach us. This is a self-isolating practice, but one that is practiced by much of the left in imperialist countries. While the mass line involves raising the political level of the masses, this is done through struggle, not through sloganeering or demanding that the masses politicize. Now, tailism is a method of practice by which revolutionaries only allow themselves to follow the most advanced ideas of the masses, never moving beyond these ideas, nor putting forward any revolutionary politics. Revolutionaries tail the masses. Some use the mass line as a means of excusing this type of practice, saying that the mass line means that we have to go to the masses and meet the masses where they are at politically to learn from them. While this is true, it is only half of the mass line. Revolutionaries are also supposed to raise the political level of the masses in the process of struggle. And this can only be done if revolutionaries openly put forward a revolutionary political program. The mass line is intended to raise the level of the masses and connect them with revolutionary struggle, not serve as an excuse for revolutionaries to hide their politics. Communist conduct. The question of how communists should conduct themselves, both among the masses and inside the party, may seem to be a banal question, but effective mass work without proper conduct is impossible. Insofar as all conduct is concerned, but chiefly towards the masses, communists must conduct themselves humbly and without arrogance. Often, communists approach the masses as though communists know everything and simply have to teach the masses the correct ideas. One thinks, for instance, of the myriad rallies that we have all surely attended, in which presenters spout off a list of facts and some platitudes that the audience largely knows and agrees with, but that the passerbys are somehow unconvinced of. Instead, to properly apply the mass line, one must realize that one can both teach the masses the correct political ideas, which is raising their consciousness, but also communists have much to learn from the masses in terms of understanding concretely how society operates. It is only by approaching the masses in a humble and open manner that we can effectively organize the masses. Communists must constantly combat sectarianism. Oftentimes, it is easy to substitute the health or success of an organization for the success of the class as a whole, seeing the advancement of an organization as the advancement of the class struggle. Sometimes it is true that a single organization is necessary for the advancement of the class struggle, as in the case of a legitimate vanguard organization, but many other times it is not. As a result, communists will often look out for their own organization above the interests of the masses. This can manifest itself in various ways, such as not correcting mistaken practices within an organization, covering the mistakes, or attacking other organizations in an unprincipled manner. In turn, communists should be open, where possible, to working with other organizations, and certainly should be open to working on the initiatives that are brought forward by the masses. Sectarians frown on all initiatives not started by the party or its mass organizations, and communists must combat this trend. Communists always struggle for the broadest possible unity and see struggle against other comrades and tendencies as a means of building unity, not defeating others. Communists must be principled. In the work that communists do, they should hold to their politics and practice. Communists should be dependable. They should struggle against lapses into various opportunisms, including right opportunism, giving up principles for immediate gains, and left opportunism, or posing as more radical for the sake of being more radical. It is only by being principled that communists can win the respect of the masses. As Mao said, we should go to the masses and learn from them, synthesize their experience into better articulated principles and methods, then do propaganda among the masses and call upon them to put these practices and methods into practice so as to solve their problems and help them achieve liberation and happiness.